Everybody.
Great. So what I wanted to talk to you today about as the PI of InnovATEBIO is essentially the summit, the journey to the summit, and also formation of task force state teams. Next slide. So essentially for the agenda, we're going to have a review, logistics, think about your team, and follow up with your mentors. All the co-PIs in InnovATEBIO are mentors for the nation. Next slide. So let's talk about why the summit. Well, this is the 4th year of InnovATEBIO. This is the year that I have to write the next center grant. This is the year that I have to understand what are the emerging technologies that we have to address now and in the future. Also, a continuing conversation of the needs of programs and, of course, the needs of industry concerning the workforce. There are accelerated changes in technology. Another major issue, or it's a positive, is that there's more focus on a diverse workforce if we're going to meet the needs of workforce. There has been some papers printed on the lack of collaboration to create the workforce. Too often, governmental entities and others work in silos, and we know collaboration is the key. But there are now opportunities to work collaborative to create a workforce, and I will be talking about those opportunities. And mainly, how can the center help? The center needs to do more work for programs, because what we're hearing is it's not just about money, it's about time. And we'll talk more about that. How could the center help with activities that programs and others have to do to create this workforce? And then also a sharing of resources for this effort, especially if you are the only program in a state. And we have many programs that are the only program in a state. Next slide. So let's go to the agenda. I'm going to go quickly through the agenda, and at various times we can ask for feedback on this because you are the community. So yes, we still want your feedback on this because this still is somewhat of a draft. The days are set in stone. The hotel is reserved. We had to do that because guess what? DC is a very busy place in June. So everything had to be done up front. And I wanted to tell you why we decided in doing it in DC instead of someplace that was not where the main government is that we want to bring and invite federal government employees, Congress, Senate, other agencies, so they can hear what community colleges do and what are the emerging technologies, and also see what our students do during the poster sessions. So we felt it was important to do it in DC. So right now we're looking at a reception at the St. Gregory. We're going to review the summit. And if you don't remember, InnovATEBIO is responsible to help fund the Coalition for State Bioscience Institute report, or CSBI report. You should remember that we did that in 2021. We are doing it again this year. This is part of the journey to the summit. This report will be available for the summit. It will have information about emerging technologies. It will have information concerning the workforce. We will be disseminating that. So one of the opportunities is that now we are partnering even more closely with bio and the state bio organizations. And many of them, at least some of them, are on this call today in case you have any questions or we need additional information. We want to promote collaboration between the programs and state bio organizations. We'll talk more about that. The second day, June 26th, will be Envisioning the Future Biotechnology Workforce. It'll be there that we talk about emerging trends and the role of community college programs. On the 27th, that is especially your day, the state task force meeting. In the beginning part, in the morning, you will have a review of best practices, resources that we feel are important for all of you to know about. And in fact, if there are some resources that you know about, please let us know. Goal setting and forming relationships and collaborations. We will have examples of what is occurring in the nation in several of the states where state bio organizations, trade organizations are working with their educational partners and industry. And then, of course, what we will need to hear from you is how can the center help you obtain your goals, and especially the next center. The last day will just be for the InnovATEBIO leadership team to meet to formalize the report that will be a result of the summit, also the journey to the summit. And one thing I want to be very clear about, I realize not everybody gets to be on the invited state task force team, but who is on the team is tasked with the responsibility of going back to their state and sharing information. That is my role for Texas. And I've already told the programs in Texas who are not able to go as paid task force members that I will be coming back and doing a meeting with them and sharing the information. We also will have, I'm going to go ahead and to the next slide. Okay. And then I'll come back to that. Okay. The one thing on logistics for the individuals who are being invited, we will be paying for travel and registration, and CORD, the same group that does high tech, is doing all of the logistics. The accommodations are at the St. Gregory and Hyatt Place. We are going to bus you back and forth to be more efficient about your time and our time, because yes, this is a working summit. And so we want to make sure that we have a place for you to stay, a place for you on a bus to get to the National Academy of Sciences. And yes, the meeting is at the National Academy of Sciences. And also maximize the amount of time that the task force state members can spend together and form collaborations. Next slide. So one thing is, could you go to the agenda, Cassandra?
Back to this one.
Yeah. But Cassandra has the,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no.
Oh, I see.
You're going to have to stop sharing. And
Got it.
I wanted to share with you guys a draft of the agenda. I feel that it's really important for the community to be part of the conversation. And it's pretty much, we have all the speakers selected, or at least we've selected them. There's only one outstanding one that we haven't quite got an answer on. And let's see. So yeah, the first month, so Sunday will be a reception and registration. So people can come in early if they want and do registration that night. And then we'll be talking more about the goals and objectives for the summit. The first morning, envisioning the part of the summit. We are bringing in 20 students from programs. Cassandra, we don't have all of them yet, right? We're still developing a list. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, the one thing about the student poster presentation, and the reason for this is that we want to share with industry and others and governmental representatives what community college students can do. Now, we are allowing both students who are in class right now, and we're also including alumni who were in programs up to 2 years and did poster presentations. And what's really nice about alumni, former students who have done posters, they are now industry. So we will be looking for more individuals for this from the programs that are interested in sending their students. On the first day, there will be 100 task force members that are being paid for their room and transportation, and they do not pay for registration. There's still 200 spots left that we are recruiting industry, government, other individuals, and they will have to pay $100 to face-to-face, or it will also be available virtual at $25. And this pretty much just pays for the cost of food and everything else. Now, go back.
Sorry, I got dropped off. Let me go back.
The positives of Zoom.
Okay.
Okay. And then we go in through all the invited speakers. I'm not going to go through each one, but we were very careful about who we selected from the national community in terms of representing, like Dr. Moore represents medical devices and commercialization. My chancellor is going to talk about the many roles of a community college, which include economic development, workforce education. And then we're going to have a meet the alumni fireside chat. So we're looking for more alumni to do that. Student posters. We're going to have box lunches so that people can look at the posters. And then we go on to Dr. Atala, who's going to talk about regenerative medicine, and keep moving on down. And so Sandy, do you want to say a little bit about Monica?
Sure. Dr. Monica Burando she's the CEO of Macromoltech, and she does computational structural design, structural biology. She's going to talk about using AI and deep learning in designing antibodies.
Right. Fantastic. And then Dr. Douglas Friedman, who is the CEO of BioMade, is going to be talking about the many facets of industrial biotechnology. And then we have Dr. Bruce Friedovich, founder and CEO of Good Foods Institute. I don't know how many of you have tried some of the products of this industry. I've tried Impossible Burgers. They are kind of interesting. Anyway, and then moving through Dr. Paula Hammond, who's head of Department of Chemical Engineering at MIT. After that, you'll get a recap, and then that night a reception and the student posters again. Finally, the second day, but I'm just giving you a quick overview. The very first part of the second day is all about resources for essentially the state task force members that we think are important. For example, Biotility is going to be presenting on some of their resources in terms of the base, micro-credentialing, and we're working out a list of resources that we think would be important for the teams to know about as they go forward in thinking about strategically how they can work together. We'll have some examples, and then they'll have time to work together to think about what they can do in their state or locally that will benefit production development of a diverse workforce for industry. And we're hoping that industry, of course, will also be part of these conversations. And finally, everyone will be able to present their road mapping and their strategies at the end and get feedback. And from that, we hope to learn what the different teams need to meet the future in terms of creating their workforce. Okay, that's it. That was a quick overview. Once it's finalized, we'll presented at the website. Okay, back to slides. So now to state teams and leads. And I know we're going through this rather quickly. Next slide. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to Yingsu Lo, who is head of the committee for participants. So she'll be carrying on the conversation at this point.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yingsu Lo. I'm Executive Director of Bay Area Bioscience Education Community and part of the leadership team with InnovATEBIO. So as part of the lead for gathering all the participants together with the state team, we've been working as the InnovATEBIO leadership to determine and to who would best represent their state. And the way that is sort of figured out is that you are collaborative and in your leadership, and you also may have a ATE project going on, and you know about what's going on within your state, and you might be the only program in your state, and that's great, that's fine. And the idea is that for you to be learning from us and we learn from you, and then for you to also gather your team together, whether or not you know them, we'll help you with that so that you can work together to make your programs better. So the goal is to prepare the next bioscience workforce that meets the needs of industry. And the idea is for the state teams to work as a state and with other states, intra and inter collaborations within and other state teams to develop a collective effort. And as you know, we have a lot of challenges as part of a program. I taught at community college for over 10 years. So we can address those challenges faced by high schools and community colleges educators to bring about awareness and recruitment. We can also think about how to address those diversity and employment gaps faced by industry. We are there, our programs are there to train the next workforce. How do we work together with industry in order to fulfill their needs? And how do they help us to fulfill our needs as well? We want to also demonstrate and advocate for the value of community college education and training. We all think that our programs are excellent in training our next workforce, and we provide students a lot of hands-on skills, and not just technical, but also professional skills. But we have a poor problem with marketing. How do we market our programs so that industry understands that that's what we're providing? They need our students in order to fulfill their gaps. And this is an opportunity to provide an ecosystem to propose on any solutions that we may have and work with each other to solve those problems. And it's not going to be a one-year solution, right? It's an ongoing collaborative effort so that we can all work together to solve these problems that we have. Okay. So some state team leads, and we have chosen the state lead teams. We have asked them to be their team leads. We are waiting for answers from them for some of them. And part of the expectations of being a leader of your state is to choose your state team. And I'll move on in a few slides to say how we can help you with that. And it's to help us. One of the first things to do is to help us plan day 2 of the summit. If you have resources that you can share, if you have ideas that you can share, we'll work with you to plan day 2 of the summit, which is the task force engagement working summit, as Linnea says. And the idea too is to develop this state workforce ecosystem. And it's a partnership between you, your industry folks, your alumni, your high school, your 4-year colleges, and your state team is that entity that's going to help with this fulfilling some goals. And of course, if you have any resources or information that you would like to share with your state or nationally, that's going to take place. And again, although the summit is a 1-day summit, a 2-day summit, this work is not going to be just a 1 or 2 days work. It is going to take place throughout the year and probably for the future as well. Okay, so what does the state team composition look like? First of all, we have the state lead. Again, we have already contacted colleges, persons to be their state lead. We have asked them to be the state lead. We would want you to have an industry partner along, someone who has authority in potentially changing hiring practices. I think many of you have the same problems with each other in that many of the job descriptions don't say that they can take 2-year grads or people with or trained students with certificates. There are a lot of them has says that they need 4 years. So let's change that. How do we change that in industry so that they are hiring our students? Because they're a lot more trained professionally and technically than many of the 4-year grads that we have out there. We also, part of your team will be some of the state bio representatives. And I will talk about that in the next slide. And another full-time faculty, if you feel that you want to do this as a team with another full-time faculty from your state or part of your college, any high school or 4-year partners, students or alumni for poster sessions. And then we also have a flex. The 7th position here is flex. We're looking at a team that's 2 to 7 big. Okay. We do have a limit of 100 people that can attend. And so we want it to be robust. However, you may not have all these people that you can choose from your state, especially if you're small. So you might be a program that says, well, I don't know who my state bio representative is. I've never met them. Well, InnovATEBIO is working on that as well with you, for you. We are meeting with the CSBI head, and she will be also inviting bio folks from around the nation to attend. And it will be an opportunity for you to meet your bio representative and work together as part of your team. And of course, you know, the workforce, the industry has their goals of trying to meet their talent gap. They want to hire people, and they also have a DEI gap. And I know that community colleges can fulfill both those gaps. We have well-trained students, and a lot of our students meet that, probably 99.9% meet that DEI gap as well. And I'm not just talking about, it's talking about demographics as well as experience. So we have our trade organizations and industries that will be represented with your state. So you might wonder, well, what kind of change can I do? I'm a small program. I only have one program in my small state with small industry, and I'm just one person. So you are important as well. You are important to what we want to do as part of InnovATEBIO and what our next round of center grant can be. So we want your voice heard. Another importance is alumni. If you have students that are now working in industry, we want to hear, or have the training been useful for them? What else can we help? What else can we do as faculty, as partners, to help our next round of workforce? And like Linnea says, even though you're not part of this small task force that will be attending the summit, we still need your help in engaging with the teams and forming your community so that you can make change in your programs and within your state and with other states. So as part of the leadership team with InnovATEBIO, we do have mentors, and your states are listed here with part of what we've chosen. So, and these states all have your programs. So Linnea has Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. I hope you all know your two-letter abbreviations. Russ Reed, it's North Carolina, Georgia, and Indiana. Dave Miklos has New York and Missouri. Jim has Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. Sandra Porter has the 2 O's, Oregon and Ohio and Massachusetts. And it looks like I'm right in the middle of the country with Illinois, Nebraska, and Kansas. And we already have the state leads for California and Washington, who are also part of the leadership, Innovate Leadership. And that's Carrie Quenzer with California and Guy Hamilton with Washington. Another interesting topic that was brought up yesterday was that could we form a regional group? And I think that's definitely something that can be discussed with your mentors as well with the other state leads, especially if you have a small program. Linnea, let's go back to you to take the Texas example.
Right. And one thing I wanted to point out also is that once again, we realize that we can't pay for everyone to come, and we're not representing all of the nation. We did pick individuals based on membership in InnovATEBIO. Did they attend Russ Reed's Leadership Institute, and did they have ATEs? But we don't want people to feel left out, okay? This is only a pilot. We'll be doing something similar again, and we will be having meetings in the states that are not represented. And then, of course, there is a possibility of combining some states together. So this can be a little bit creative. For example, Missouri and Kansas may want to work together. So I just want people to realize we're not leaving you out if you're haven't been invited. Now, the reason why we thought this would be a good way to work together is we really feel that we need collaboration to create that diverse workforce, and that programs by themselves, if they're in silos, cannot do it. They also run the risk of not being able to sustain themselves. And I will be interested to hear about your own examples. I'm providing my example. I don't know how many of you realize it, but I am the only program member. I am the only full-time faculty member in my program. That is it. It has never changed. I'm still it. I have adjuncts, okay? So the one thing I did when I started my program 20 years ago, I had no lab space. I had no equipment. I had not been in research or industry in 7 years, so I had no idea what was going on. I only knew there were 2 companies in my town, Strategene and Ambion, that needed a workforce. I did have a grant to start a high school program, and I was part of BioLink, so I learned to leverage the center. And one thing we want to stress to all of you is that we want you to leverage the center, just the way I did and others have. I reviewed what my challenges were and my strengths. Well, my strengths is that I was part of the center. So from them, by the way, Sandy Porter gave me all of her curriculum. And then others gave me all of their curriculum. And then I got industry to teach in my program, and I sat in the back of the room and learned everything I needed to learn. They asked me to stop asking questions, by the way, that technicians needed to know. I actually had my first course in a colleague's lab at the University of Texas. And now my program is in health sciences. I share labs with MLT because they've never given me my own lab. I'm too small. How many out there have small programs? So I suffer from being the only faculty member, and I have a small program. So I've had to learn to align myself with bigger fish. I formed a relationship with our state bio organization, Texas Healthcare and Bioscience Institute. And with them, because they were also concerned with workforce, what happened was, essentially, I ended up on the governor's Bioscience Council at the time, and I ended up with an incubator at our school through the governor's office. We worked together, all the programs in the state as a team, because our voice is much louder, and we were able to get some of our courses, science electives. So I think this demonstrates the value of collaboration, and collaboration not only within the state, but also looking at what other states are doing and bringing that back. Next slide. So essentially, I already went through that. But, you know, one thing I have brought up in the ATE community, and it's not only true in biotech, community colleges aren't necessarily getting, they're developing different problems. especially post-pandemic. And I can see that in my community college. So to be quite honest, I need more help. I don't necessarily need more money. I need more help, or if more money to bring in more help. And I'm thinking, how can the center help programs and education and collaborations with the fact they just don't have enough hours in the day to do everything they're supposed to do? Well, I propose, what if we had an alumni network that a center ran and helped you to organize your alumni for your school? So one thing I really want task force members to think about, and the community, is what could the center put in place to help you accomplish the tasks for your program? And that's something we want to learn at this summit. Next slide. So the one thing at this point, so guys, what time is it? Do we have time for lots of questions?
We have 20 minutes.
Okay. So at this point, we hope you follow up with your mentor, but not just your mentor, any of the leadership team. And now let's field questions, because I bet you guys have a lot of questions. Don't be shy. Oh, one other thing I wanted to do, Lori and Lisa. Lori Lindberg, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, thanks, Linnea. Lori Lindberg. Some of you may recognize me from California Life Sciences Institute, but now also a co-lead with Lisa on the Coalition of State Bioscience Institutes, and working excitedly with InnovATE to really try to make this summit an opportunity to raise awareness among your state associations at bio and industry partners on the valuable role of the community colleges in training our technician workforce. So thanks,
Great.
Linnea.
And Lisa.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Yeah, Lisa Bozinovich here with Oregon Bioscience Association, and also Coalition of State Bioscience Institutes. So Lori and I together are working on producing that report in partnership with the state associations across the country, and also able to help with those team formations by connecting you to your representative in those associations if you're not already working with them.
Great, thank you. And now I'm going to go for the co-PIs. Sandy, then Russ, Dave. Sandy.
Hey everyone, I'm one of the co-PIs. Not sure what else I'm supposed to do. I'm mentoring Oregon and Ohio and Massachusetts, and happy to help, but happy to help any of you. So please feel free to reach out.
Russ.
Yeah, hi, everybody. I'm Russ Reed, and I'm a co-PI as well. And I'm actually representing the workforce hub of InnovATEBIO. But for the purposes of mentoring, it's Indiana, Georgia, and North Carolina. Good to see everybody.
And Dave.
Hi, everyone. I'm here in New York, and I am going to be helping the New York team and the Missouri team. I used to be married to a woman from Missouri, so I know a little bit about the Show Me State.
Great. Terry.
Hi, I'm Terry Quinzer, and I'm going to be leading the California team. I lead the Bioscience Workforce Development Institute at Miracosta College, and have been working with all of the colleges in California that have biotech programs. So we have a jump on all of this already, and we're also happy to help with mentoring those of you in colleges in small states that kind of may not know where to start or whatever. A lot of our faculty have been wonderful mentors for each other, new faculty and everything. So we'll be here to help.
Great. Guy. See, I'm really going after people. I was going to go after Guy when he was turned around at his desk.
Hi, Guy Hamilton. I'm at Shoreline Community College, which is just north of Seattle. And I've been working at the college for 20 years and through different interactions with BioLink before this, and now InnovATEBIO, and having our own, developing our own biohub. We've worked collaboratively with many colleges at the state level. So we're excited to kind of have this new role and start working and supporting the efforts in the state of Washington. So
Great. And now you know what I'm going to do. Something a little bit different. So BioMade, I saw Kristen and I saw Louise. You want to say hi? And then, yeah, John, I'm going to get you from Nimble. So Kristen and Louise, you want to say hi?
Sure, I'll start, Linnea. Hi, everyone. Good to see so many familiar faces on the line. I'm functioning as the Senior Program Manager for Education and Workforce Development in BioMade, and will be participating fully in the summit. Really looking forward to it. Kristen.
Hi, I'm Kristen Jenkins. I recognize a lot of faces in this crowd as well. I'm delighted to be working with you. I just came on as Louise's colleague at BioMade, also working in education and workforce development. Looking forward to this meeting.
Great. And now I see that Jim Hewlett was here, and then I'm going to go after John Bakunis after that. Jim.
Everyone, Jim Hewlett in New York, also Finger Lakes Community College. I also organize the undergraduate research hub for InnovATEBIO, and I'm going to be working not only with our New York team with Dave and Bruce, but Delaware, Pennsylvania, and Maryland.
Great. And John, are you still there, or did you disappear?
I'm here.
Good. Say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody. For anybody that I don't know, John Balchunas, Workforce Director for Nimble. I think that everything's coming. I'm impressed to see the way everything's kind of taking shape with the summit. I'll be there for at least the first day. Nimble's national meeting is occurring over the same timeline in DC at the same time. So I think some of the crowd at InnovATEBIO will likely make their way over to Nimble. We'll have more coming out about the workforce program at Nimble, but again, what I can say is I don't see much duplication from a content standpoint. Nimble's national meeting last year, from a workforce standpoint, we spent a lot of time talking strategy and talking big picture, which is where Linnea, you're heading this year with your meeting. So I think we're trying to be a little bit more topical this year with our national meeting on the workforce side of things. So shouldn't be too much overlap. I'm looking forward to it.
And we're planning to send 5 people from our task force over to visit Nimble and see what they're doing and bring it back to the group. So that'll be, so if any of the task force or individuals are interested in that, let us know, because we want you to know that we work very collaboratively with the manufacturing institutes. In fact, I'm going to a meeting this Monday at San Jacinto with one of the manufacturing institutes that's in Texas. They're having a meeting because it's really important. Collaboration is the key. Now, I would love to hear some questions, thoughts, feedback, and Lisa has her hand up.
Yeah, Linnea, I just want to point out Carla is with us today. So she's newly in her role with BioFab Army. Where? Workforce. Carla, are you still on?
Her.
Let's see.
Oh, Carla, yeah, there I see you down there. Okay, great. Carla, do you want to introduce yourself? Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa, and thanks, Linnea. Yeah, it's nice to see so many friendly faces. So I am the new Chief Education and Workforce Officer for Army BioFab, the Center of Biofabrication in Manchester. Up until recently, I was with the Massachusetts Biotech Education Foundation running their life sciences apprenticeship program. So I'm happy to be here and happy to get more involved.
Great, thank you. And Bruce, I haven't forgotten you, Bruce.
Hi there, I'm Bruce Nash. I work with Dave at Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory and I'm part of the Genomics Hub and leadership for InnovATEBIO. I guess I work on authentic research and melding authentic research with technician skills training.
Okay, and now let's go ahead to questions. And Cassandra, can you help with this? I see a second question, but I didn't see the first question that Catherine, what was your first question. And Catherine, could you ask your second question out loud to the group? Will they be an industry talk sharing their efforts in hiring, retaining, and promoting a diverse workforce? That's a really good idea. Maybe that's something we could do on the second day. See, these are the kind of things I would like from the group to suggest. Oh, and I see Christopher has his hand up.
Hello there, everyone. So Christopher Wild, San Jacinto College, Houston, Texas. We're very new into this space. So we're committing to building a biomanufacturing training facility in the greater Houston region. We've been doing a year plus worth of research, and we just had our first curriculum meeting today. I just wanted to thank everyone, in particular, Dr. Fletcher. Boy, the resources available on the website were tremendously helpful. And I'll certainly be connecting with her via email. I'm just grateful to be here, and I look forward to learning a lot.
Should I visit you while I'm down in the Houston area next week?
Will be wonderful.
Okay, we'll talk offline.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Who else? And I need help in fielding questions and everything here.
Catherine's first question was, what are the two specific outcomes for the June summit?
Well, the two specific outcomes in my mind is one, of course, we have to figure out collaboratively how we're going to work together within our states to create a diverse workforce. And we picked state by state because of state resources. Each state is different. So we're committed to that. And we felt like we wanted you to meet in teams to come up with maybe the top 3 strategies for how to do that. And then the other thing is we really need to find out what everyone, the programs especially, need from this center and the next center to accomplish their goals. We have to hear from you specifically what we can do. And we want you to think out of the box. And that's why I came up with, if you need more man hours, we will try to figure out how to give that to you. We have to create a diverse workforce to meet the needs of industry. And we know it's more than just technicians, but our technicians who become alumni are doing way more than just technician jobs. It's a career path.
Jason Tucker also asked if we'd be able to share the state team leads once we get that list finalized.
Yes, we will share that with all of you. In fact, why can't we just share that? I don't know if we can.
We don't
share
have
it.
all answers yet. I don't think right now.
All right. We won't. I will do what my administrative assistant tells me to do. But we will. But see, I also feel like you have to realize 100 slots is not a lot, but we don't have unlimited funding. And we really had to pilot this to see how it would work and to see what we could get from the community by doing this first off. I kind of call this, and I saw Elaine Johnson online there, I kind of call it like, I really miss Summer Fellows. I call this Summer Fellows on steroids a little bit, because we're doing a lot in 2 days. We don't have a whole week. Hi, Elaine. And you all know, Elaine was our fearless leader for over 20 years.
I don't know about fearless, but we certainly had a great team, and it's very exciting to see where things are going and continuing. It's good to see you all.
Good to see you. Okay, so we see ABRF would love to give a talk about course. Okay, second day, we can do that. The other thing we're going to do too is not if the morning gets overbooked with resources, but of course, Sheena, we will give ABRF a spot, is that we're also going to provide an opportunity. Okay, the other opportunity I wanted to tell you about, and they're online, is GradCom is actually going to make some videos on emerging technologies that are not being profiled on day one. So if there's some emerging technologies that you feel more of a profile, then send that information to us. And then the other thing, if you feel like there's a resource that's not going to get profiled on day one, number one, send us your resource information. Number two, we will try to accommodate as many as possible on day two to share. But if they don't get shared, we will be asking for a short video concerning that resource, and we'll figure out how to do that. So I want you to keep that in mind as a community, that we need this information. Yes, and we really do need you to join InnovATEBIO. That really helps us in terms of representing the community and disseminating information out to the group. What else? I think we only have, what, 6 more minutes? Is that a sign from Sandy that I see there? We only have 6 more minutes. If you feel we need another community conversation on this, we can do another one and provide more information. This is really about the community providing information as we journey to the summit and having the summit, and then afterwards, after the summit, what we're going to be doing. So we really want to hear from you. I feel like the time is too short. I wish we were all sitting around. I wish we were back in Summer Fellows in many ways, and we had a whole week together.
Also, Sandy has put a link in the chat to a survey. It would be really helpful if you guys could take 5 minutes to fill it out. It's kind of how we plan our next moves and make sure that we're meeting your needs.
Anything else that people want to share?
Oh, yeah, don't forget, next week, speed networking. You're going to get to chat with each other. You're going to get to see how it works in person, and you'll learn a lot about the data and what students think about it and what industry members and alumni think about it. And it's a thing that there is an ATE project that could help you organize these kinds of events with your alumni, and maybe even a couple states working together.
Yeah. And if you feel like that's something the center can do, that is something the center can consider doing for all of you.
So I do have a question. So the last quarter of last year, the White House released the executive order for allocating, it's like $2 billion for biomanufacturing biotech. I'm wondering if you'll be addressing what that means for the landscape, maybe particularly in workforce development. I recently returned from the AACC Workforce Development Institute, and I discussed this with some folks from Department of Labor, Department of Ed, and there wasn't a lot of specific information. And I understand the RFI just closed, I think it was last week, but I'm wondering if this is a topic that you'll take up at the summit.
Yes, it will be. Oh, and by the way, Celeste Carter's been involved in designing the summit, and she's hoping that everybody who comes to the summit reads that.
Yeah, good.
As part of preparation for the summit.
Linnea, Lori has a question. Lori Conan.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I was just typing my, I'll put my email in the chat in a moment. NIST has just, and this is not related specifically to what you're talking about. So if you want to save it for the end, but the NIST show, there will be a reference cell line coming, but first is sort of a slightly more informal version of it. And I'm working on a project where I'd like to put together a proposal for people to use those cells at community college and undergraduate and maybe a little bit of graduate level, but not the really high powered stuff. If anyone's interested, I'm about to put my email in because this has to be bigger than just me at my place. So if you're interested, and if you Google NIST show, you'll see what they are.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Guy, an hour goes fast. We will do another one. Thank you all.
Yes. Linnea, I just wanted to say one thing, just, you know, even if everyone on this call is not at the summit in person, I still think there's a really great opportunity here to start really developing models and best practices of these state teams working together. And if we can, you know, I mean, these things take time, as we know. Some of you are already working maybe more closely with your state association, but if we can get a few really good state teams that are starting to work together to sort of build this momentum, I think that's going to be a huge success. So whether you're there with your teams in person or virtually, I think sharing what we learn out of this summit and getting you all working with critical people in your states, if you are not already, and then some of these fabulous national organizations that are supporting this, is going to be a really successful outcome and the beginning of building even more. So I'm really encouraged about this. So.
Yeah. And I want you to see that we literally have on this call, we have CSBI, we have manufacturing institutes, 3 of them, and we are all working together to help you to create the diverse workforce. We work as a team because we know this is the only way it's going to happen. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do it. So I appreciate all of your support and all of your input. It will all be considered. And we're always willing to do more than you thought a center should do. If we need to be the other person in your program somehow, let us do that, because we don't want programs to feel siloed or alone. Speaking as the only faculty member in her program. Thank you again for being part of the community conversation. We will be having another one.
Thank you.